Warning. The following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us at the bar downstairs. That's right, the bar downstairs. For some of you out there that can't read, it's TBD. Yes, the podcast channel that covers a wide range of topics, including B-horror films, cult classics, comedy, music, and a range subject. We also dive into that generation subject matter that's making a popular choice for our fans of all eras. And if you want to contribute in making this world a better place, well, we would greatly appreciate it if you hit that click, infamous like button along with that subscribe button. And of course, if you want to, hit that little bell button there. It's supposed to notify you the next time we up a video, including a live video, which is something that Todd and I were just talking about before I hit that record button. It's so important because we definitely, without a doubt, would like to start doing some live streams down the road where it's a watch along of all these B classic, because it wouldn't do any good without you guys there. So, Todd's got his background ready for this particular subject matter because hell is definitely frozen over. There's no doubt about it. If you're our age or even those baby boomers, you know exactly what we're talking about here. So we go any further, Todd, how the hell has your week been?
Not bad. Got my green on. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. This will be, we're actually filming this the day before St. Patrick's Day, but just got back from the store, got my Reuben material. I got my sauerkraut, Thousand Islands dressing, Swiss cheese, corned beef. My wife's upstairs now getting ready to start boiling the potatoes and the cabbage. She loves boiled cabbage. So she'll do, we'll do that for the big day, I guess. But it's, we also start early and, I've got my Guinness. So this is the first time I'm drinking alcohol on the channel.
It's ironically, we're doing the exact opposite on today's podcast. Now, there's a reason for, actually, I applaud you and Karen for celebrating St. Patty's Day, getting a little preparation done ahead of time. Like Todd said, we're recording the day before being that it's a Sunday. I've got a rule. I don't drink on Sundays anymore because I got to go back to the day job tomorrow. And being a truck driver, I really have to make sure that, I time but that's okay. That's okay. So I'm proud that you're drinking the Guinness because I was doing that the day before. Celebrated St. Patty's Day and Saturday. Like last year, we did it up at Christopher Webb's house, meet us in the man cave. And yeah, we did our Irish card bombs and yeah, it was a good time. Definitely. And I'm not wearing green, but it doesn't matter. I'm Irish anyways. So yeah. I'm wearing red. So for you true Irish, you know what the red's all about. Sunday, Bloody Sunday, which is not a good subject for Irish folks. So,
our sexpert Dorothy Black is joining me in studio, and today we're going to be chatting about premature ejaculation. Dorothy, nice to see you again.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you doing?
Good. How are
Excellent.
you?
I'm good.
So today we're talking about premature ejaculation.
Yes.
I love that. I love the hand gestures that come with it.
All right. Sorry about that. I had to
Fart.
Oh, sorry. I thought I could wait. Okay. So St. Patty's Day is officially been dealt with. Todd's dealing with it now.
I'm a programmer. I don't drive. I work from home, so I'm okay to. And plus, I never have more than two. I just don't. We're older, Scoot. It's we used to be able to just drink and get to that edge, and sometimes go over the top, and not anymore. Not for me. I don't find it enjoyable. I guess I just like to get a little buzz going and just ride that wave.
That's why I do it here, the bar downstairs. I don't care to do it anywhere else. Well, I'll do it at anybody else's man cave if you know, but no, I know what you mean. It's just it's too difficult the next day. Way too difficult the next day, which really relates to the subject and matter when we say hell is frozen over. See, I contacted Todd about this subject matter because I know this is something that I really have never talked about in the past on this channel or even on the other channel. It's because the reason why I say the hell is frozen over, and if you're our age or even a little bit older, you're going to completely understand. And I don't think a lot of younger generations get it. They've heard of certain things in the past, and if you see Todd's background, then you get it. Just like a lot of younger generation, they're getting tired of hearing about the Reds' big red machine. They respect it, but it's like, when is our chance going to come around? When is the Reds in our time going to do well? Well, shit, we've been waiting since 1990 ourselves, so we get that. As for the Cincinnati Bengals, I honestly cannot believe that the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals, who's been basically running the show since 1991, I've said it for so many years. One of the main reasons why this team has not been successful is because of their ownership. I mean, this is the one team that finally decided, thanks to the owner, for so many other things as well included, but the scouting department did not exist with this organization for so many years. Now they've got 4, from what I understand. Woohoo.
My father brought me up to be a Bengals fan. And I'm a hometown fan. So I'm Bengals, I'm Blue Jackets hockey, I'm Reds, I'm Columbus Crew, whatever's closest to me is what I enjoy. Cincinnati Bengals, there's a love-hate relation. Well, first off, the most hated person in the entire world for me is Art Modell. Thank God he's dead. And I hate saying that about anybody, but Art Modell, for those of you that don't know, the Cincinnati, the Cleveland Browns actually started off by Mr. Brown, Paul Brown,
That's
who
why they're
started
called
off
the
that
Browns.
team up there, and that's why they call them the Browns. And Art Modell, in the middle of the night, basically took over controlling interest of the Bengals or the Browns, I'm sorry, and took it away from Paul Brown. Just like that. I mean, it was just like it was very unfortunate. Pissed Paul off enough for him to go down to Cincinnati and start the Bengals. Thank goodness. For those of you also that are Browns fans, number one, I have ultimate respect for you if you can name the last 3 quarterbacks the Browns have had. That used to be my moniker. I think with the Browns, we need to make it the last 6 because they've had seems like they have a new quarterback every year. But in other words, that's my test for how well, have you followed a team long enough to know their last 3 quarterbacks? And with the Browns, you'd have to go the last 6 or 7 or hell, even 10. They change them like they do every season.
And not to interrupt Todd, due respect and sympathize as well. And this is coming from an AFC North rival. Trust me, we do sympathize the hell you've gone through. Sorry, Todd.
And we knew it the minute Deshaun Watson was drafted. I called it. I knew it. I'm like, this is going to mess them. What? Do they not want to win? What's their problem? You need to stay with the quarterback for a while. Sometimes you stay with them too long, Achilles Smith. But it still, you need to hang on with the plan. But anyway, back to the story. Art Modell took away 3 years of football from me, and I'm not a Browns fan. Art Modell, like a thief in the night, picked the Browns up and took them to Baltimore. He basically screwed over the entire city of Cleveland the way he screwed over Paul Brown. And for those, I think it was 3 seasons, there was no Browns. And as a Bengals fan, nothing pisses me off more than to have the chance taken away to talk trash shit with my buddies that are Browns fans. That's part of the fun.
Hello, my name is Thor. Look for me in my new film, Sex in the City, The Thunderstruck. And make sure you subscribe to Scott's channel because his value is worth your time. And thumbs up. Turn on the notification bell. This fucking hair won't leave me alone.
People talk bad about Mike Brown, who's the current owner, Paul's son, who keeps on trying to capture the lightning in the bottle that his dad had. We'll talk about more about Paul here in a minute. But Mike Brown, the one credit that I can give him is he was offered the same deal that Art Modell was made before Art Modell took the deal. And he said no. And that's the only saving grace that I can say about Mike Brown. Now,
Yeah.
Paul Brown, on the other hand, if you want to look into football history, there's a lot of things that are going on today that are because of the Browns. Sugar Huddle happened because of the Bengals. Or I'm sorry, because of the Bengals.
The 49ers dynasty that happened back in the 80s was really due to Paul Brown. Because what if they're, let's just say Walsh. He was an assistant coach to Paul Brown. He even said it himself. He learned so much from Paul Brown.
And instead of recruiting him up to head coach, we let him go. And he came back and beat us not once, but twice. I will always say this. The Bengals are the only team to come within 7 points of beating the 49ers in a Super Bowl during their dynasty, and it was twice we came within 7 points.
God.
The first Super Bowl we lost because of Archie Griffin couldn't handle a punt, and I do not care how many Heismans he's won. There was only one kick he needed to handle. And the second one we lost because my favorite Bengal of all time, Mr. Tim Krumrie, got his leg broke on the first defensive drive, and that just kind of pulled the winds out. We still came close.
It didn't help the matters either when we had one of our running backs doing cocaine.
Yeah, that was bad.
The night before.
That was bad. That was
and Sam had to approach the whole team because he was like the big team leader. He was the team captain.
Yeah.
And when they had to take him off he couldn't play. I mean, you have Tim Krumrie's broken leg, and then this ordeal, and it's just.
Yeah. But back to Paul. Nowadays it's commonplace for the quarterback to have a headset in his helmet. Paul Brown was the first one to do it. Back then. I mean, it was insane, the crap he thought of. The different defenses, the different offenses, the ways to use the quarterback. The Sugar Huddle came about because
they turned that into the West Coast offense. Sorry.
Pardon? No, go ahead.
It pisses me off that they turned that into the West Coast. They called it the West Coast offense.
No, it was developed in Cincinnati. Everybody who's a real fan knows that. But it's and I don't know. It recently with what's been going on, Joe Burrow, what a great kid. Good head on his shoulders. He really knows how to approach the media. He's got his head on straight. He knows what he's doing. Him and Jamar Chase. There was a thing that I used to have back when with Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. And I'm like, you know what? If you were playing backyard football, you would never allow those two on the same team because it's just not fair.
Yeah.
Now we have that with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow.
And if you don't mind me interrupting you here, before we really get into the whole reason why hell is frozen over, because I don't think maybe we should share too much under that yet. Let's add on to a little bit like the history here. Right. Is what people understand, us old folks, what we've had to go through. Todd's giving you the original details of it. I mean, how Paul Brown got screwed over, then he's like, well, I'm going to start my own organization, hence the Cincinnati Bengals. There was a lot of growth, but the Bengals it didn't take them nearly as long to get things going right in this, at the time it was the AFC Central. Of course, our rivals, as you mentioned, the Cleveland Browns. I hate saying this other team because it's always been my major. Makes my blood boil till this day is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The organization, you got to respect their history, but that does not mean I have to respect the fans that's treated me and my son like shit like flies on shit. And then, of course, we got the Baltimore Ravens, the original Cleveland Browns, as much as the Browns hate to admit it, but it is. And then there's us. And then, of course, let's see. Yeah, there's the four right there. I would still think of the Houston Oilers when they were, because back then, they always talk about the AFC North as one of the toughest divisions. Well, hell, back in the day when we had Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Houston, and who else am I missing? I know there was at one point our divisions have changed so much, but I always think of those right there. That was a tough division right back in that day because the Houston Oilers were pretty damn good. The Browns were pretty damn good. The Bengals were pretty damn good. Pittsburgh, they were always up and down, but that was a tough division right there. And I've noticed it had a lot to do with the running game too. Not so much the passing game, but the running game. There's no doubt about it because each team had some damn good running backs back then. But the thing that Todd and I, what we went through that fits the Generation X, and then we'll get into the main reasons why hell is freezing over, which I'm still shocked. So shocked that this is happening. I never thought it would. But the 90s was a horrific time for Bengals fans. I mean, it was like we were the joke. That's where they really brought up the Bungles. And I mean, we went through when Mike Brown took over. It's like everybody's like, he's not his dad. He's trying to be like his dad, but he's not. And no one was Paul Brown, because Paul Brown passed away shortly before this time. And then we've got Shula's young donation, because that was I think that was Mike Brown's first hire as a head coach. Shula.
Dave Shula.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when shit really started hitting the fan. I mean, the fans, of course, they had David Klinger as the quarterback. And I know there's been enough talk about how Joe Burrow has gone through so much hell as not having any protection. It seemed like every time they hiked the ball to Klinger, he was going to get his ass sacked there for a while. I mean, we never really truly got to see David Klinger do well. Granted, he probably wasn't the most intelligent one, but he probably had more concussions, because back then they didn't really announce concussions as much as they do today as the protocol. But that guy had to have tons of them, as much as he was knocked into that concrete at Riverfront Stadium. It was horrific. I mean, we got so excited when we finally got one win. And it seemed like by a field goal at the time. It was just terrible times.
No,
but like you mentioned, when I brought this idea, Todd, I'm going to let you cut into the 90s here. How you took the 90s during the time, and then I'll, of course, elaborate. So
first off, I always tend to be optimistic, especially when it comes to pro sports. And here's why. There have been plenty of times when there's been talk about the Bengals leaving Cincinnati. And the way I look at it, we are fortunate living close to Cincinnati to be able to have a stadium and a team where, even if you're not a fan of the Bengals, if you're a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, well, Dallas Cowboys come to Cincinnati to play the Bengals in Cincinnati. You can go see an NFL game. We don't have to travel that far. It's right here in our backyard. And you don't take that for granted, no matter how bad the team is. And we went through 25 years of losing seasons, but there would be a lot of times when Scoot and I I had a red convertible. It was a LeBaron. It's not like a Corvette or anything, but it was a nice little red convertible. It's four-speed turbo.
Michael Scott fans appreciate those LeBarons in The Office. If you're a fan of The Office, you get it.
But we would drive down, like top down, because it was warm, and we were on our way down, and we'd hit the big grid of traffic that was going to Cincinnati, and we'd have people like, hey, 2 for 1. And they just give us tickets 2 for 1, so they wouldn't have to go sell their tickets at the stadium, because everybody was like, I mean, you could go see a Bengals game cheap. I mean, about the same price as a Reds game, which is really saying something back then. So we really got to love the Bengals and the way things were. And so it was funny, because that one time when Scoot and I did that, I told them, I'm like, man, we'll never 2 for 1. That's a great deal. And they were like good seats too. We were like, we'll never come by this again. And I think it was a week or two later, Scoot at his work, they had a thing going on where, you get a cup of coffee, you put the quarter in the machine or whatever, you get a cup of, and if there's a star on the bottom of your cup, you get 2 tickets to the Bengals. Well, he got that. So he beat me on the 2 for 1.
That's why I'm drinking coffee with Montgomery Inn advertising.
That's right.
Montgomery Inn. Best goddamn ribs in the world. So if you want a sponsor, they don't need no. If we had 1 million subscribers, they still wouldn't need us. But anyways, Montgomery Inn.
No, I would need Ozempic. At that point. But no, so there was a lot of things that we got to see. One of my fondest memories was when Tim Krumrie retired. And they had the big retirement ceremony and at halftime, and they gave him a Harley.
By the time his signature season of 1988 arrived, everyone knew Crumrye's name. If they didn't, they knew it at the Super Bowl. He was in the middle of a defense that got there, allowing just 2 touchdowns in 2 playoff games.
There was a time during the season we had a party with Boomer in his basement. We stood around and looked at each other and we're going to Super Bowl. We all just said, hey, we're going. And we did.
We're gonna bring that home! When Crumrye couldn't continue in the big game, he refused to leave the locker room and nursed a beer as the doctors tried to convince him they needed to set the leg.
We understand that Tim Crumrye refuses to go to the hospital.
Since he wanted to remember the game, he refused painkillers. When the stoic stopper they called the Cowboy couldn't get the bullet from the security cop, he bit on a towel instead. No one thought he was coming back anytime soon. Some thought never, except for Crumrye.
People thought, yeah, he's not going to play again. There's no way he's going to play football again. Tim Crumrye was like, I'm playing football again. I'm not missing a game. I'm not missing a snap. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's like, is this guy, is he human? I mean, is there a little Martian in this guy?
That Super Bowl where he broke his leg was the first game that I ever watched as a kid. To see him go down, to see how the team tried to rally behind that, you could tell barely, minutes into being a fan, what Tim Crumrye meant to the team.
He not only started the opener less than 8 months later, he never missed a game during 6 more seasons with a 20-inch rod running the length of his leg.
How's your leg? It's going along pretty good. That's good, man. Feels pretty good. I can't believe you played with it.
High school, true freshman, never missed a game. College, true freshman, never missed a game. NFL, 12 years, never missed a game. I mean, I got tackle stats, that's fine. I have the stat that I really am proud of. All those games, I never missed a game.
At age 32, Crumrye led the Bengals in tackles for a 5th and last time, unheard of in the world of nose tackles. The Bengals gave him a motorcycle at his last game in the 1994 Riverfront finale, and the Cowboy closed out his remarkable rodeo in a full-throttle circle as he roared out of the stadium much like he did on his draft day. Now Crumrye and Dylan are ushered into Paycor to be honored in Monday night's halftime rally of Tough Guys. As Dylan's name goes on the building he christened with historic power and speed, Crumrye bikes into the Ring of Honor with a Cowboy's pride and strength.
And Scoot and I have this one rule, or at least I don't know if he has it without me, but I always have a hard, fast rule. I don't leave the stadium until the scoreboard is off. You have to kick me out of that place because it's so rare that I get to spend time at my shrine. And I think this was at Riverfront. It was still at Riverfront, right? They had the grass field. I know that.
You know what? Maybe if I show you something right now, this would be perfect timing to add in exactly what you're talking about. And action. All right, I got a cool item to show off. Since we're on the subject about the Bengals and most likely the Reds. Yes, it says pillow. That's my son forgetting to put his clothes up from last weekend. There's a photo or an image over here. It's nicely framed. I purchased this at Trader's World, a place that's located in Moraine, Ohio, which is, of course, north of downtown Cincinnati, Ohio. Oh, wow, this amazing glare right now. Oh, my God. Or is that a ghost coming out of Riverfront Stadium in a photo? Are we witnessing something here that's absolutely shocking? Or is it a reflection? It's hard to say at this point. But anyways, no, to prove my point that this is Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati's Riverfront Stadium. Yes, this opened, I think like less than 2 weeks after I was born. Yes, Riverfront Stadium opened in, I could put the facts up on the screen here, when opening day was for Riverfront Stadium for the Cincinnati Reds, for Riverfront Stadium. But yes, this photo here has, as you can see, that glare is getting on my fucking nerves right now. All right, we're back. Now I can't see what the hell I'm doing. Damn. All right, we're gonna have to deal with the Spooky glare. But anyways, the ticket stubs, the 3 ticket stubs you see here on the corners and of course in the center, we'll go to this one first. This one's really special. It's, as you can see here, the farewell to Riverfront. I don't like to say the C word because I didn't like it back then. And because it's Riverfront Stadium, not, well, you get the idea. But anyways, this farewell ticket, Todd, you were there. Yes, this is Baseball All-Stars. Yeah, there was a lot of Reds from, the Big Red Machine, Reds that played in the 1990s team. Hell, Mike Schmidt was even there. Of course, he played for the Philadelphia Phillies, but Mike Schmidt is from Dayton, Ohio. In fact, my mother even dated Mike Schmidt. So yes, that is a fact. But that's the story she's told us. Well, no, even my Uncle Joe claimed that it was true. So yeah, my mom dated Mike Schmidt. As we follow this ghost over here, this particular ticket stub, which is pretty much, well, a ticket stub for the next seat over. This was the last game played at Riverfront Stadium that the Bengals, of course, the Browns were there. And yeah, check out the prices on these tickets. I bet you can't find prices that cheap this day and age. $38. I don't care what section, what part of Riverfront Stadium. Was it in the red seats? Doesn't matter. $38 is an amazing price. You're not going to get that the day and age. That day and age? Something that day and age. Oh my God. This phone, I should have dusted this thing before I even did. Let me do this shit all over again.
Sometime we're going to have to share the video that we did with an old friend of ours that celebrated Pete the last day, the last softball game that they had there. And we have footage that I think a lot of people don't. I don't think there's a lot of footage that I'll have to look it up. Maybe it exists. But anyway, Tim Crumry, his last game, we always stay, like I said, I stayed until the scoreboard went off. So the scoreboard went off and I turned back around and started walking out and I heard this roar of an engine. And I turned back around and there's Tim Crumry riding his Harley up and down the damn field. I think that's what it was. They were getting artificial turf. It was the last time they were going to have fake turf there, so they didn't care if he ripped it up or not. And he just ripped the shit out of that turf, man. It was awesome. I was like, and I never knew this. His middle name is Alan, same as mine. So that's really kind of cool. Even
you bringing that up, I can't help but because I remember. The Bengals, they had different locations throughout their tenure of where they had their, like now they do it right there in Cincinnati by the stadium where they do their camp and all that stuff in the summertime in June and all that. Well, they did it, I know, like generally most of the time in Wilmington, and then they moved down to Georgetown in Kentucky. And I was down there and Todd wasn't with me at the time. And I'm like walking towards more or less the visiting side where they practice at Georgetown's college stadium. And of course, the Bengal players and the coaches, they're walking the opposite direction as fans, like they're going to go have their breakfast or whatnot. And sure as shit, as I'm walking, I'm going to say it was like around the end zone, the track area, where obviously people were welcome to walk. Here comes Tim Crumry, opposite direction. And I don't have Todd with me. And I'm like, I don't my mind. I'm like, I knew who it was. Anybody of the fan of the Bengals then, you knew who Mr. 69 was. Tim Crumry seemed like he played better if he got bled or whatever, if he broke his nose. You did that, you pissed him off. He played even more hungrier. But yeah, he's walking towards me, and I introduced myself, and and it's just like, God, I was like, God, what if all times Todd could be shitting himself? I mean, I felt so thankful, but felt so bad at the same time.
Yeah, I don't collect a lot of cards, but I've got a football card of Tim Crumry, and his nose is broke. It's all bloody, and he's got his face mask, his helmet's on, ready to go out and play, and that's my blood card. And I'm just like, and people don't understand. Back in the day, nobody gave a shit how much he got paid. They were playing football. It's what they love. Am I playing for the Bengals? Okay, fine. I don't give a damn. And there was team loyalty back then from the players. And I think the game has lost something in that now. To know you don't have them lifers like, it used to be that you had a 70% chance of when you bought your jersey with your favorite player's name on the back of it, you never had to worry about having another jersey.
Yeah.
Because that was who they were going to retire with. They were going to be there till the end, shout out Sam Hubbard, who now retired. Young, but still
Cincinnati kid. I was proud to hear him. He wanted to retire as a Bengal.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't get that hardly that much. The kid graduated from Moeller High School, which is in Cincinnati, Ohio, pretty much close to Montgomery Inn. Ohio State, Bengal. He said he's going to be a lifetime. He was a lifetime Bengal before he had a jersey, and he's just that's
so
amazing.
One of the games I think my dad took me, 1981. The Bengals played in what was notoriously known. They played the San Diego Chargers in the Frozen Bowl. And it was absolutely, to this day, a wind chill of,
46 below.
Yes. And we beat them 27-7. And to this day, they there's rumors, Scoot, and there's talk about putting a dome on Paul. Don't do it. I don't want a dome stadium. I don't give a damn how many. To me, football's the one thing that you can play in the weather. And the weather is the third part of the game. You have home team, visiting team, and the weather to contend with.
Well, in reality too. I mean, a dome would also say, well, if we put a dome, if we put a cap on top of Paul Brown Stadium, because they're not going to put anyways, that means, hey, we could get people here for a Super Bowl. They're not going to put a Super Bowl in Cincinnati.
No.
Yeah, it also Northern Kentucky as well too, but it's just not going to happen. So yeah, I'm like, don't put a dome on that damn thing. Leave it. I know they're going to be restructuring it. They're going to basically revamp it. But it breaks my heart to say it's 25 years old. But yeah, give or take. No, don't.
But there's been a lot of things that happened. God, I can remember Jerry Glanville talking shit about the Cincinnati Bengals, the head coach of the Houston Oilers, and we just annihilated them.
Houston Oilers.
There's I don't know. I mean, just being a Bengals fan has been interesting. My favorite quarterback, although quickly becoming Joe Burrow, is Ken Anderson, who before Joe Burrow was the highest throwing percentage in the NFL. Period. That crown was held by Ken Anderson. I got to meet him, got his autograph, got it up over in the other room. I've got my theater where I have my my TV room where I have my 65-inch television.
At one time, he was originally going to have a bar downstairs.
I still got part of it.
Yeah.
I opted for a lot more, which we will talk about with Chris and meet us in the man cave with all the stuff that I have down here that I could.
Oh yeah, the game, the video game,
the Beast, my stand-up arcade game, PS3 that has a bunch of different Rock Band. I got Rock Band, all the instruments and all that other kind of jazz. We always have fun. But anyway, yeah, back in the day, yeah, we lost a lot, but if we would have been successful, I don't think Scoot and I would have had the money to go to half the games we went to.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was just so at least we got that. I mean, and it always seemed there was a time there that it seemed like the last game of the year we'd always win, no matter how bad we sucked. And I remember this one year in particular, and you'll love this. I don't know what year it was, but do you remember the year we only won 2 games?
It was. It's funny when you bring that up. How I talked about how it just felt exciting just to get one win. So the '90s were such a blur from a lot of beer drinking. How the hell did we get back home? So you asked me what year? It's just like roll the dice.
I'll look it up real quick.
I don't know. It was all such a blur. So many. They were like the Bad News Bears back then. I mean, they did have their ups and downs. There were some good moments, of course, when Jeff Blake came in and with Carl Pickens and Darnay Scott and.
Wow.
And
so in '68 we won 3 games.
Yeah. But before, as he's looking that up, Todd made it very clear his all-time favorite Bengal. And it's still to my day, my all-time Bengal, which ironically is a defensive player as well. And I'm very proud to say that I've met him 3 times. And I want to say it was the 3rd time I met. He remembered me. That's Mr. I should say very clear, number 33 in your playbook, Mr. David Fulcher. He was a strong safety, and he loved playing for Paul Brown. Just like some of the great ones, like, he mentioned excuse me, making sure that I don't cough my head off here. I can't talk about this without saying another great classic, Dave Lapham, who's very much a part of the Bengals organization. Every young individual now who watches Bengals game, they're still listening to Dave Lapham, which is so cool. That guy always talks about the respect and history of the Bengals. You already mentioned Ken Anderson. And gee, Todd, how much shit did I get for looking like a certain Bengal at one time when I was much thinner? I had hair on top.
Yeah, he was Boomer Esiason, and everybody knew it.
Yeah. And Boomer and I were both left-handed, but I always said my wallet certainly didn't look like his.
No.
James Brooks. Oh, God, love watching that little guy run.
You
We met
remember
him
when we met him.
Yep, at a bar that's no longer existing. This, I remember we're having a good old time before, during, and after a Bengal game. And James Brooks is at this nightclub we were at, and I just remember, oh my God, I don't remember how exactly I said it, but James Brooks in the bathroom. I was basically taking a piss right next to James Brooks, number 21. And he was traded. He was with the San Diego Chargers, and then they traded him to the Bengals. That was an awesome trade.
Yeah.
Ickey Woods. If Joe Burrow had the offensive line that we had with Boomer Esiason, and with the receivers and we're getting closer and closer, why hell is freezing over, I can't see this. And of course, the defense that they had, there's no way. They could literally go undefeated.
So I was wrong in my memory, but in 2019 and 2020, in 2019 and 2002, we only won 2 games. But the 1998 season, we only won 3 games. We went 3-14. We beat the Detroit Lions, and we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers twice.
I remember one year.
I always love talking about that season because it's like the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't beat us. I mean, we sucked. We sucked bad.
No.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers that year, let's see, they were what was their record that year? 7-9 after starting 5-2.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
I'm gonna do everything in my power during this podcast not to be disrespectful to other teams. It's okay to show who you love and who you don't like, but I'm not going to sit here and be rude about it because that's not what we're here about. I think it's about time we really get to the point of why.
Yeah,
I feel like hell is freezing over. Today when I woke up, I oddly got some information that I don't normally receive. Folks, I don't follow it as much as I used to because I had to take a step back from sometimes with the Bengals because it just wasn't, my health was getting involved with it. And I was one of these kind of fans that just lived and died by all my Sundays. And then I have a son that I realized that was a hell of a lot important to me than that, not to mention my health. And I did mention, I said I wasn't going to sit here and butcher. Just bad experience with a fan, not the team, not other fans. To sum it up, I said, that's it. I've had enough. I can't deal with this anymore. I'm going to start putting my focus on other things. And I got really tired of also, and you probably have experienced this yourself as well as a fan. Sometimes you get so fed up. You're like, that's it. I'm tired of it. I wash my hands. I'm sick of the bullshit.
I never have.
And I'm glad that I took that time because I put my son first. I got more involved with my son's soccer, which he plays on Sundays. Ironically, as we all know, the NFL's on Sundays. And I don't regret my decisions. I mean, dear Lord, what have they done for me lately anyways? But someone who grew up as Todd, as we're trying to paint a picture here for you, like we've gone through a lot of tough times, but some good times as well. I used to say, and even your father would probably be like, you got to be fucking kidding me at this point. Mike Brown is one of the cheapest SOBs when it comes to the NFL. But what he did and what we're hearing, and it's pretty much right now crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Mike Brown, as you very well know, and by the time this video gets loaded, and they may have that press conference where not only will you have Jamar, but T. Higgins and possibly their leading, Trey Hendrickson sitting at the table, because I hear that's probably going to be done too.
That's one of the reasons why Joseph Asai signed his 1-year deal, was because that was getting done. And, when Joe Burrow, when you pay money to Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow sits there and he's going, oh, yeah, it'll get done. I mean, for all the bullshit and all the I hate the damn clickbait shit that you see about, Jamar Chase and trade deal, proposed trade deal. It's like bullshit. It's not a proposed trade deal. Number one, they're never getting rid of Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is going to be in Cincinnati as long as he wants to be in Cincinnati, and as long as there's a chance. And, one of the things I love about Joe Burrow, they said, what was it they asked him? I know I'm going to paraphrase this, but
it's okay. I do it all the time.
What do you think? When do you think there's going to be a time when you won't be able to go to the Super Bowl? And he's like, never. As long as I'm playing, there's a chance to go to Super Bowl. I mean, the kid just got it. He has it. And I think Mike Brown's finally seeing the light. Better dementia's finally setting in. I know he was diagnosed with it. No, it's true. That's what he's going to perish of, unfortunately. Like I said, I would love to hate him, but because he didn't take the Modell deal, I can't. I mean, I just can't. He kept the Bengals here where they belong. They try to make a lot of hubbub about the stadium deals and all this other crap, but we did get a new stadium. It's one of the better stadiums around. When it first opened, they called it Paul Brown Stadium, and Scooter and I will always call it Paul Brown Stadium, just like it was always Riverfront Stadium. But the reason why he's making the deal to change the name is to make the money for Joe Burrow, because that's where they get the money from, and that's how this works. And for the longest time, the Bengals were 25 years losing seasons. One of the top 5 profitable NFL teams, which is why Mike Brown looked at his bank statement and went, I don't see a problem here. We're still making money.
He's the only guy who could take the IRS to court and win. I mean, the guy obviously is business. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I've always knew it. The guy knows his business sense. Yes. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
But now with Katie Blackburn, his daughter.
It's obviously the Blackburns.
She does the contract deals, and her
and her sister looks so much like her dad. It's not even funny.
I've never worried about this whole off season. People talk about, oh, they're not doing anything in free agency. They're not doing anything in free agency, and I'm thinking that's because I know where their money's going. I know where their money's going to go. It's one of those things to where.
But in all reality, no one thought that this would have happened. I mean, literally, we're sitting right now on a Sunday, like Todd mentioned, celebrating St. Patty's Day the day before. But I don't have eyes and ears, and I don't obsess over this stuff. But when I heard this, I'm like, holy shit, this is a lot of money. I mean, as he's made it very clear, he's going to make Jamar the highest paying player that's not a non-quarterback highest paying man. So I guess in a long sense, the fact that this whole weight, because you know as well as I do, Todd, as soon as the press comes out, the meets or where Jamar and T is sitting there at the table, where they're interviewing, they're down there, Paul Brown, Pagor Stadium, the NFL Network, ESPN, all those analysts, they're just it's gonna be a roller coaster ride from hell the way they're gonna be talking about that.
And the good news is they're going to be talking. Well, I mean, of course, and again, to be honest with you, Scoot, I never had a doubt in my mind. I never had a doubt that they were going to sign these guys. as soon as
You just butchered the hell of this podcast.
I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I still say it's
the
a cold
temperature
day.
of hell is transitory, and some people have warmer blood than others, I guess. But no, the reason is because Joe Burrow was so damn sure of it. And when you got a quarterback making that much money saying, I will restructure my deal to get these guys to stay. Because again,
and we don't even know how that went.
I've never understood why people were so, oh, he's the highest paid guy. Yeah, till next week. I mean, what the shit? It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
They go up all the time. Talk about, if you want to impress me, come out and say, with adjusted for the cost of living, how much have they been paid? Because I'm sure there have been guys that have been paid a hell of a lot. Steve Lambert being coming first to mind. Madden as a coach was invaluable, probably the highest paid coach of all time. Now there are guys now that are making more money than him, but adjusted for inflation, I don't think so. Because Madden was football. He just had that kind of a Mike Dick guy. The Bears.
Yeah. Well, Matt, let's face it, for everyone out there that loves their video games, especially when it comes to sports, I mean, duh. You had, what was it called? The Madden football game?
Yeah. Madden football? Yeah. It's just really, I don't know. I think the good news is I think we're signing all three. I'm sure we're signing Jamar and T after what's come out. Bad news, you don't go to the Super Bowl this year, it's over. That's the big problem I have is the pressure. Oh, God, do I hate the pressure. The last time the Bengals went to the Super Bowl, it was Burrow's second year, Chase's first year, and nobody ever picked them to go. And they went. They just had this knack. And if Zach Taylor doesn't play his guys in the preseason, he ought to be fired before the regular season starts.
Yeah,
it is impossible how these candy-ass players, and yes, I'm talking about Burrow's been more about not, he's okay with getting hit. But there's a lot of football players where they work these deals to where it's like, no contact, only a little bit of contact during preseason. Let's not get. And what's been happening the past couple of years? 3-4 games into the season, you lose your stars. I'd rather lose somebody like Jamar with an ankle sprain the first year of the first week of the preseason, because it'll give him a month to recover.
That's a mission. You can't baby the shit out of these players. You're paying them all this damn money. Let them play the damn game.
Well, the players are trying to say that,
that's what we live in. We live in a bubble world.
It's if you're going to pay a quarterback $1 million, well, you're going to pay a quarterback $1 million because, he's in the NFL and his career could be cut short and it may only be 4 years and it may only be 6 because he could get hurt like Theismann, which, by the way, I'd have to say this for my father. He loved seeing Theismann's leg get broke. He just hated that guy for some reason. And when his leg snapped, he watched it over and over again. And Theismann recovered, so I don't feel bad about it. But neither would Dad. But now that you're getting to the point to where you can't touch him, you can't tackle him, you can't hit him, why are we still paying him money? I mean, if we're going to make it easier for you guys to play longer seasons anyway, then you don't deserve the money we've been paying you.
And goddamn, they get these reps out of the game as much as they get into. I mean, or make a fucking decision. I'm tired of even being on the outside hearing this shit. Make a decision and stick with it how you're going to call the games. I'm tired of it. And because I shit you not, I'm on the outside hearing this crap. I'm like, oh my God. Is there anything ever going to change about this damn sport?
It is. I mean, it has changed. The instant or the challenges have come into play. There's more challenge rules that will be changing for this year.
That shit.
The ball spotting. The spotting is going to be coming to where we'll actually know where the ball is.
I just think it's a bunch of bullshit. Just hurry it up. Let's go. Tired of those guys being the dictators of the game. Play the damn game and let's go. I mean, terrible. But then again, it gives so many people out there to have their voice and their opinion and get paid to talk about it at the same time. So can't take that away.
It's but yeah,
Well,
it's amazing to me, not to get political, but
yeah, you
there
have to when it comes to sports.
there's a lot of people that don't like unions. Ain't never heard them
NFL is
bitch
a
about the
union.
players union. Ain't never heard them bitch about the players union. The NFL, the basketball, it's almost like, oh, well, if you make over $1 million, then I'm okay with you having a union. Let me give you a little clue. If you make over $1 million, you don't need a union. You've already done your
I mean,
job.
yeah.
Am I wrong? I mean, am I crazy?
The reality of it is the NFL is a union. I mean, it just is. I mean, you can't have 32 teams now start off every season. If it wasn't a union, that yes, it would be like baseball.
But you got the players union. You got
the Yankees and the
my
Dodgers,
look,
and everybody
my
out there team's a farm league.
I'm okay with unions. I'm fine with unions. I'm more than fine with unions.
If it works, yeah.
But my
if it
point
doesn't work,
is, there
you
are
gotta be
other
fair.
unions
There's
where there are people don't make $1
crazy
million that people don't care about them. And it's like, wait a minute, they need it just as much as anybody else. It's like, it's one of those things to where anything can be spoiled. There's always an extreme, anything taken to the extreme. Moderation is the key to the game, right? So as long as you stay within the 60% of the middle, that's fine. And I think most people are fine with that. But for these guys to make multi-million dollars and then cry because, oh, I got hit. Tom Brady used to do that all the time. I mean, he used to look at the umpire like, hey, I got hit. And the umpire's looking at him like, you make 6 times what I do.
Which brings me to another NFL player that this is the one thing that drives me nuts about, what do you call it? Is it the fair weather or fair weather fans? They're I know enough people, and I'm sure you do as well. It just gets underneath my skin when you have somebody that's a fan of the Cincinnati Bengals, let's say in 2021, and now they're a fan of Patrick Mahomes. Didn't give a shit about Patrick Mahomes, but I like him now because of this pretty commercials and all this other. I can't stand. You jump to either the player or different teams all the time, and it's just like I see that shit and I'm like, okay, I gotta walk away. I gotta walk away because I can't stand being around these people that they're not really fans of the game. They're just fan of the hottest color or the hottest player right now. And I understand Patrick Mahomes is a lot like, but you just mentioned about, I guess he does a lot of this acting like,
oh yeah, they'll take a flop. They'll take a flop at the end of the week. Oh man. And
I've heard a lot of that crap, and it's just like
Kansas City. If you wanted a three-peat, should have had Burrow as a quarterback. Because I'm telling you right now, Joe Burrow's a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes any day of the week. Let's switch offensive lines and see what happens.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, all credit.
Mahomes is a good. I mean, don't get me wrong, Mahomes, you got your due, but you ain't shit without that front line. You ain't shit. Look at what you did. You went and won a Super Bowl, and then you lost because you lost your number one wide receiver.
I mean, we both know. Don't get us wrong. People that are actually watching us right now, we both give credit's due to the Kansas City Chiefs. But it's
just a team thing. Andy Reid's a great coach. I mean, if Andy Reid was coaching the Bengals, where do you think they'd be?
Or what if he was coaching the Eagles? Oh, snap. It happens. It does happen. I mean,
but the good news is and the one thing we can say, Scoot, is that for all the NFL and all the bitching that people do, they got the parity thing right now.
Oh yeah, and
you know what I mean? I mean, the Bengals at one time, the AFC North had 3 teams in the playoffs. Everybody except, sorry, Cleveland. But it's happened more than once. And they're saying that it's possible that you could have all 4 teams of the AFC North in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, it depends on if the other teams behind you suck. Of course, it's not hard to do the math on that. I want to bring something. You said something that I want to say on a positive note for the majority of NFL fans. You said, I don't mean to bring politics in it, but you know the one thing throughout so many years, football is almost in a sense politics. You've got fans of one side or the other, but you know what's great?
They can talk with each other.
Exactly. Why in the hell can't the real world, I guess you could say, take a lesson from that?
Because we've lost it. I mean, you know, we've lost the respect for each other to be able to say that you are allowed to have an opinion other than mine.
Yeah.
And it comes from human beings have an innate nature to think that they're the most important thing ever. And I'm sorry to tell you, you're just not. You're one of 7 billion people on this planet. This planet is one of 4 trillion in the entire Milky Way. You're just not that damn important.
I'm going to tic-tac to prove you, or
Tic-tac?
What is it?
TikTok.
TikTok. I'm going to TikTok to prove you wrong.
Oh, look how many views I got for saying the word bitch.
Tic-tac.
And again, so I mean, I guess the big lesson from that is, you know, just life is too short. You know, there are very few people in this world. I grew up taking dance class at a young age, being called names, being made fun of, being bullied, whatever the hell you want to call it. And you know what I learned? I just learned not to give a shit and grow a thick skin. And I care about what my parents thought about me. I care about what my wife and my kids think about me. I care about what my friends think about me. And that's maybe 20, 25 people out of 7 billion. Everybody else can go to hell. I don't care if you like me or not, because it doesn't affect me, because I understand. But at the same time, I don't like hating anyone. I don't think it's I'd rather spend my time developing the relationships with the people I like rather than further destroying relationships with people I don't, because they're just not worth my time.
All right, guys. Little Maggie, hocus pocus, hoochie-coo. Little Maggie, I love every tree.
And not to change the subject on you, Todd, but I learned a valuable lesson during this particular podcast. And hopefully I'll remember this as I'm editing. For now on, turn the volume down on your, my interface that I use.
Oh, yeah. That's the air conditioning.
I'm still learning new stuff. I got to remember to turn the volume down on my Bluetooth switch, because I don't get an echo now. But for the majority of this podcast, I've been getting an echo. So, folks, I learned something, and I apologize if there's an echo. It's not you. It's my switchboard here. I thought, let me try this. Sure as shit, the echo's gone now. I know it's none of your guys', it's not Todd's problem. I just wanted to share something that I learned. It had nothing to do with what we've been talking about the past 56 minutes. Well, maybe as I edit, it might be 52 minutes. Why am I sharing this with you? Because I feel good about what I just accomplished. I don't get to do that too much this day and age. Sorry, I stole our thunder. Should we start all over again?